54. I'll be 54 a month from yesterday.
We live, but wow, you look so good.
Thank you.
We're
Thank
live.
you.
My gosh, I can't. Wow, you look. You're stunning, stunning. This is great. This is great. All right, we're live. Hi everyone. Sorry. I just I'm excited about our guest. I'm excited about what she does, and I can see the effects of what she does just in conversation with her off screen. So hi everyone, Dr. Levinton here, Living Spring Medicals. We help people live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. And today we'll be talking about tips on building a plant-based pantry with the one and the only Dr. Monique May. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. So now, real quick, those of you who are watching live, hashtag live. Those of you watching replay, hashtag replay. And I want to encourage you, everyone watching, everyone can have a variation of a plant-based pantry. So don't get lost by the topic. Don't get scared or intimidated or like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But these things are very important in living a good quality of life and a good quantity of life. And studies have shown that a plant based lifestyle increases how well and how long you live. So there we have it. Now, that being said, Doc, could you please kindly introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and why you do the things that you do?
Oh, gladly. Again, thank you so much to you and your audience. So my name is Dr. Monique May or Dr. Monique on social media, and I am the physician in the kitchen. I basically help people discover, cook, and eat delicious plant-based foods. And my mission is to fix America's health one plate at a time. I am a board certified family physician with over 20 years of clinical practice. And I basically became the physician in the kitchen as we were talking before the show started. 2020, a lot of big things happened. The world shut down. I turned 50 and I started paying more attention to what I was eating. And really just, and I watched a couple of documentaries about how our food is made in this country. And some of it was kind of scary. And so I just really wanted to go into the second half of my century as healthy as I could. And, having lost my dear grandmother to complications of high blood pressure, obesity, and smoking, on top of 20 years of counseling patients on healthier lifestyles, it
Mm.
just all kind of came together. And I enjoy being in my kitchen or my lab, as I call it. So it just all kind of came together as physician in the kitchen. And here we are.
I like your um big, hairy, audacious goal. You're going to change America's the way the Americans eat, one plate at a time. I love it. I love that.
Thank
I also like the fact that you use your own personal experience also to help empower others, and that you turned a tough time in America into something to, or you found you found something positive even in the midst of the chaos that was COVID. So more power to you, sis. This is good. This is good. All right.
thank
So
you.
now my first question is we're talking plant-based pantry. Now, I'll be honest with you, the first thing I suspect that comes to mind is, ooh, how is that going to be possible? Because you got to keep plants in the fridge, otherwise they go bad. So let's start there. Mindsets like, oh, plant-based, it sounds, hard, things go bad quickly, not fun to eat. Let's start there. How do you get people like, you know what, let me try this?
I love it. You said the magic word, which is mindset, because that's what I start when I start any of these conversations. That's what I start with. It starts up here. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing, and it doesn't have to be, let me go clean out my pantry and start from scratch. I really encourage people to kind of, number one, identify their why. Why do you want to go plant-based? As physicians, we can talk to somebody till we are purple in the face. If they don't identify their reason why for making a change, they're not going to be as successful. Okay, we know that that's just how it is. So to answer your question about plant-based, it really requires you to kind of expand your thinking. When we're referring to plant-based, we mean pretty much anything that's not animal derived. So that's going to include your whole grains, your legumes, your things that are really pantry stable.
Mm,
Canned goods, canned vegetables, canned tomatoes are great. They're actually healthier for you in some ways than fresh tomatoes. So when we're talking about plant-based, It doesn't just mean, yes, they are, of course, the large part of it, the fresh fruits and vegetables, but it's not just that. It's your nuts, your seeds, your nut butters, all of those things that can be in your pantry and that you can work from.
All right, Doc, you said something. I'm like, "Ruh." You said the canned can sometimes be better than the fresh. Talk to me about that. I'm guessing the
Yes,
pesticides and stuff
yes, it,
on it.
definitely. I know it sounds kind of a little counterintuitive,
Hmm.
but it has, it particularly is true for tomatoes. I'm specifically speaking of tomatoes.
Okay.
The all processed food is not bad. You know, when we think of processed, we typically think of the ultra processed, that of course is not good for you in any way. But when you chop a vegetable, when you wash a vegetable, you're processing it. You're not eating it right out of the ground.
Mm.
So so some forms of processing are good for you. That being said, canning tomatoes actually increases the lycopene levels, which is the antioxidant that helps decrease certain types of cancer, such as prostate, helps with your skin. That process of canning actually improves the nutritional value. Because think about it, everything that you're getting in the grocery store, yes, it's a fresh fruit and vegetable, but if it's not locally grown, it's had to travel some a distance to get to you. Some of the nutritional um, benefits have decreased. And that happens with your produce, unfortunately. So some canned foods, particularly tomatoes, can be better for you.
All right, good to know. I'm writing
Mhm.
that she said slice in tomatoes in particular. Now, what about the salted canning? Like, how do you pick a good canned vegetable? Let's go there since we started there.
That's a great question. So you want to definitely read your labels. So you want to look for things that say no salt added or low salt, particularly no salt. But I always, even no salt is going to have some milligram of sodium. If you look at the label, it doesn't say zero, and that's a talk for another day about food labels and how honest or not honest they are, right? So be sure to read your labels, but you can always rinse um your vegetables, your canned vegetables. And and this brings up a point, particularly in people that think eating healthy is expensive. There's a certain grocery chain that's called Whole Paycheck, right? Because some of the food can be kind of expensive. So if you have to shop at a dollar store or the $1.25 store now, um, or Walmart or something like that, where you're spending less for your food, you still can get healthier options. And canned foods can be a good resource for people on a tight budget. Again, as long as you're reading your labels and you're controlling what you can control by rinsing off that salt. Salt is a preservative. It's going to be found in a lot of processed and packaged foods, but you can minimize some of your salt intake by just simply rinsing off those types of vegetables.
Awesome. I didn't know that. I'm gonna write it here. So you heard the doc. Rinse vegetables, even the canned ones, even the
Yeah.
ones.
Your beans, rinse your beans, your veg, your green, certain things you can't rinse off, but your vegetables like beans and uh beans, I think are kind of the big ones.
Yeah.
You should be able to rinse off. Yep.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I hope you're all taking notes. This is good. All right. So let's talk stocking the plant-based pantry. What would you consider essentials? Like these are easy to get, grab them and stack them in there.
We've already talked about canned goods. I'm legumes. There's a whole and legumes is a whole category. It's a family. So in that category or under that umbrella of legumes, you've got your lentils, which come in a variety of colors, black, brown, yellow, red, and they're used in different ways. But the brown legumes are like a workhorse. They can be used as a meat replacement, in soup, stews, as a thickener, all kinds of different uses for, and they are literally pennies per serving. And they have a good shelf life or pantry life. So lentils, um, beans, dried beans, of course, are going to be much more economical than your canned beans. And again, you can control the salt content. But I will put in a plug for canned chickpeas because I call it liquid gold, but for years, I don't know if I'm speaking to someone out there, for years, I've been pouring the liquid that comes in chickpeas down the drain.
Mhm.
I'm going to recommend you stop doing that. That is liquid gold, that aquafaba, and particularly from chickpeas. because it's a mild flavor versus something that the liquid from like kidney beans or black
Mm,
beans or something like that.
yeah.
But aquafaba, the liquid, it literally means bean water or bean juice. And you can make it yourself. If you cook chickpeas on the stove, that water that's left over is still aquafaba. But it's used as an egg replacement, and you can use it in a salad dressing as a binder, as a thickener. So I'd encourage people to stop pouring that water down the drain because it really has a lot of uses in a vegan or a plant-based kitchen or pantry. Um, nuts, nuts and seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, tiny little powerhouses of protein, fiber, omega-3 fatty acids, all of these anti-inflammatory, antioxidant properties that we know reduce risk for chronic diseases, inflammation, such as heart disease, cancer, diabetes. Those are wonderful to have. Nuts, excuse me. If you're not allergic to tree nuts, walnuts, almonds, cashews, all those types of things. If you are allergic, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds are a great alternative. And things like your whole grains, right? So you've got your quinoa, my personal favorite, brown rice, wild rice, anything that's less processed. The reason that white rice makes the naughty list, so to speak, is because it is highly processed. Whole grains have three parts to them: a middle and outer, middle, and the inner, that contain either fiber or healthy fats, healthy complex carbs, minerals, vitamins, B vitamins in particular. When they
Mm,
strip that away, they take away the outer and the inner part and they leave just the starchy middle part. And then they'll add stuff back, right? So they'll add back essential nutrients that they've stripped away that were there before. So that's why white rice is not preferred as your brown rice, because you have all three parts of that grain. Um, Healthy snacks like popcorn, not like actual popcorn kernels, not the microwave popcorn, but popcorn kernels, again, that you can air pop it, control what you add to it. Your vinegars, salsa, um, but your balsamic vinegar in particular, those types of things that you can use. Tamari, if you're allergic to wheat or you don't want to do wheat, instead of soy sauce, you can do tamari. Lots of different things. Liquid smoke. I highly recommend folks have liquid smoke in their pantry because it adds
liquid
that
smoke.
flavor.
Huh.
Yes, liquid smoke. Do it. Think about it. For like, it's particularly I'm in the South, right? And so people tend to put what pork in their
Yeah.
greens to flavor those greens. Instead of using pork, you can add in some liquid smoke, some smoked paprika, still get that earthy, smoky taste without the meat product.
Wow. All right. I have a few comments here, really, really good ones. Hi, Dr. Walker. Good to see you. Said purple rice or forbidden rice is awesome as well. I didn't know there was a purple rice. I'm going to have to look that up.
It's a type of brown rice. Yep. It's
Purple
a
brown rice. Okay. I also like farah. Farah is not bad, and barley. Barley not
those
bad. Even though I prefer brown rice.
Yeah, those ancient, they call those ancient grains. But yeah, your amaranth is another one. Yep.
Okay.
Oats. Oats, exactly. Yep.
And then someone mentioned here, thank you so much, Angela. She said flax and chia also make good egg substitutes too.
They sure do. They sure do. Thank you for saying that. They sure do. It's the math is real easy. It's 1 tablespoon of chia or flax and 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. You mix them up. I like to let mine sit for about 10 minutes in the fridge. It gets real eggy, and then you can put it in your recipe.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm learning a lot here. This is good. Now, let's talk nuts a little bit. You mentioned, are there nuts that are healthier than not others? I see that, I tend to see that cashew nuts are a little fat, like high fat. Am I wrong in saying that? What are your thoughts as far as
No, not at all. All nuts actually are high in fat. I mean, that's the thing about them. You want to eat them in moderation, but again, it's going to be the good fats, and that we need the omega-3 and the healthier fats that we need in our bodies. And they also are a great source of protein and fiber as well. So, as far as the healthiest nut, probably I would say either like the hazelnut or the walnuts. Some of those.
Mhm.
Um, they have selenium, which is a mineral that we need in small amounts, so you can get that in. I think that's in Brazil nuts, so you don't need very many of those per day. But yeah, they definitely are high in fat, but it's the good kind of fat. And cashew. themselves can be used as a replacement. You can soak them,
Okay.
and then you can make sauces out of them. You can make creams and things like that. They can be a base for ice cream. So, cashews have a lot of different uses in a plant-based kitchen.
Awesome. I'm glad you mentioned ice cream because I have some people who are watching who are like, I'm a sweet tooth. You're gonna help me because beans don't sound sweet, the nuts don't sound sweet. So let's talk healthy alternatives to common pantry items like sweeteners. Like what are easy sweet snacks that we could put in the pantry that are good for us?
Well, I'm gonna fruit. I'm start off number one is fruit, right? So those are gonna be the best types of that's the healthiest naturalist sugar you can get. But there are don't forget your spices, cinnamon and vanilla. Those I add those to my tea, and I don't add honey or pure. Let me just say, if you're vegan, you don't eat honey. I am more plant-based, so I still eat honey because I like it. But if you're strictly vegan, you do not eat or consume honey. But if I'm making a cup of tea, I'll add either cinnamon or a little bit of vanilla, and it really gives me a sweet taste. So, and even some cardamom. I'm a big fan of cardamom. I add that in my lemon cakes, and it's got a nice kind of citrusy taste. So experiment with some of your spices, your warm spices, and you might be surprised. But as far as sweeteners, of course, you've got maple syrup, agave. People tend to think agave, oh, it's healthy. Pump your brakes on agave. Because what we know, studies have shown, is large amounts of agave over time can actually be damaging to the liver. So you want to, and it can contribute to like inflammation of the liver. So yes, in the short term, it doesn't spike your sugars as much as say table sugar, but in the long term, if you're overdoing it, it can be harmful. And any sweetener should be used in moderation. Don't think that, oh, if it's a healthier sugar. I don't know if healthy and sugar go in the same sentence,
Sugar,
but
sugar, sugar.
sugar is sugar. And and again, depending on what your underlying health issues are, you definitely want to speak with your doctor and your dietitian about recommendations for you. But in general, moderate amounts of maple syrup, coconut sugar tends to be a little bit healthier. And let me just say something about sugar in general. So the reason regular sugar is not vegan, and this is not something a lot of people know. The reason sugar is white is because it's refined, it's processed with bone char, animal bone char. So regular sugar is not vegan. So your brown sugar, your cane sugar, sugars that are not processed that way, those are more likely to be vegan or plant-based than regular sugar, the regular table
Bone
sugar.
char, like from the bone of a animal. The bone.
Of an animal. Yeah,
Yeesh. Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Good.
know, right?
Good to know.
And then the reason vegans don't eat honey, of course, is even though bees aren't
Bees. Yeah.
killed in the process, they're used to make it, and so strict vegans will not eat honey.
Yeah. Now, so I have someone said, mentioned here, thank you again, Angela. She says cinnamon absolutely enhances sweet notes, and she uses hers in her coffee too. Awesome,
Hey,
awesome. Now let's talk dried fruits. What are your thoughts on those? I love dried strawberries, organic ones. They're dehydrated, so a little bit sweeter, so I enjoy them. What are your thoughts? Yay, nay?
so they are great if they're done right. And I will tell you, I'm a I'm a big salad person, and I like a lot of different textures in my salad. So I will add dried cranberries to my salad for a little taste of tart, a little pop of tart, and a little chewy. Picked up a package though of dried cranberry, and it's got added sugar. It's like, why? Like, why are they adding sugar? So if you can do it yourself, great. If not, a lot of the air fryers now, they do all these different things, and dehydrator is one of
Yeah.
the options with air fryers. It does take forever. It's not a quick process, so it's kind of probably the thing you would do overnight. But if you have to buy a dried fruit, just please, please, please read the label and look for those added sugars, because that
Yeah.
will probably have the counter effect of what you're going for, which is a healthy snack.
All right. Read labels, which is very good. They do add sweet. I have to look for the one that's not sweetened usually, to enjoy. Now, I was going to share this story real quick because you talked about cranberries. So, I I pride myself like cranberry juice, yay, it's very good. Cranberries high in antioxidants. And then one day decided to buy a couple of bags. They were on sale of fresh cranberries. And I tasted it. I said, oh my gosh, the amount of sugar you have to put in dry cranberries to get it to taste good is a lot because cranberries do not
It's
taste
hard. They're
very.
hard.
It was a shocker for me. But yeah, so really, really important to look and see what you have. Even cranberries, the raisins or craisins, whatever. Look at the sugar content in it. Now,
And the raisins, I'm sorry, raisins is a good raisins and dried prunes, dried raisins. Those are
mhm,
great to have as well because those can be used in as sugar substitutes in baked goods as well.
okay, yes, yes. Now, real quick, I have someone who's watching who's like, well, I'm not quite ready to jump in full vegan, full vegetarian, but are there tips um, to start the process? We talked about mindset
Definitely.
already. We talked about different examples and things to build your protein base. Ways to enjoy sweets. But are there any tips on starting the process? Like I like meat. I don't want to eat like someone saying I like meat. I eat it. But what can I start to do even if I don't go all the way to strictly plant based?
Definitely excellent question. Again, I'm going to say start where you are. And if it's just one day a week or one meal, let's just say it's one meal. If you say, okay, I'm going for lunch, I'm going to go plant-based for lunch. That small change can lead to bigger changes. So I would say meal planning, if you're not let me back up. We tend to give probably one of the most important things we do, such as eating, probably the least amount of attention and thought, right? Because we're multitasking, we're running here, there, and yon. And so we're eating on the go, we're eating in front of the TV, we're eating while we're working, and we're not really paying attention to what we're eating. So that leads to overeating. It leads to eating empty calories and things like that. So being more mindful, which includes meal planning, what am I going to eat for the week? Shopping your pantry. Go shop with what you have already at home. So that way that leads to less cost, less food waste, and then building from there. And swapping out just maybe one plate. Like if you're making your plate and you normally have meat, maybe in place of that meat, increase your vegetables, increase your portion size of your vegetables so that you're getting your fiber, you're getting what's filling you up without the meat. And then experiment with different ways, different themes. If you want to have like meatless Monday or taco Tuesday, but the taco meat is really lentils, right? Those brown lentils we talked about earlier. Those are different ways to make it fun. And you can also, if you have children in the home, pull them into it. Let them help with some meal planning as well. And that way everybody gets engaged. And you can also set SMART goals. That's the other thing I want to mention. SMART, SMART,
Mhm.
specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time set or time bound. So that means that you are going to identify what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it. And it also includes why it's important or relevant to you in a certain time space. So I'm going to eat one plant-based meal a week for a month or something like that, where you can hold yourself accountable and be able to track your progress as you go.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Those are very helpful tips. Meal prepping definitely helps. And getting people involved, get your kids involved, let them help in the prepping process as well. All right. Doc, one more question before we wrap up. So why is this important? Why are we spending time having this conversation on plant based? Like what's in it for me? What's in it for the viewer? What is in it for the person who says, you know what, let me try this?
Excellent question. And listen, if you want to eat meat, you eat meat. I'm not here to tell people, you better do this. My job is to give you the information, just like when I was in practice. My job is to give you the information so that you can make an informed decision and make the best choices for you. But that being said, we do know that people who eat more of a plant-based diet tend to have lower risk for things like heart disease, certain cancers, particularly of the GI system, right? Esophagus, stomach, and intestines, pancreatic cancers. We know that people have better blood sugar control, better cholesterol control. Myself, when I went more plant-based, my cholesterol numbers, and I wasn't even on medication, Well, my numbers like literally almost went in half. And my good cholesterol, my bad cholesterol went down, my good cholesterol went up. So, and the good cholesterol, of course, is the one that protects you from heart attack and stroke risk, whereas bad cholesterol increases that. So we know that over time, people who are more who eat these types of diets tend to have less of these problems, whereas people who eat more meat-based diets, particularly how the food is made, right? Grilling meats, high heat, things like that, that char that people love on ribs and things like that, those are actually containing carcinogens and they increase the risk for certain cancers. So, I mean, that's why it's important. And I mean, for me, I feel better, right? After you get to be a certain age, you can't eat that stuff like you used to could eat. At least I know I can't. So McDonald's and some of that other stuff just does not sit well with me. And so, but when I eat a nice, delicious salad and I've got like all these different flavors and it to me the food just tastes better. And so though for those reasons, it's a kind of it's that was why I made the choice.
It's so interesting. A lot of my clients and patients, whenever they go through the Daniel fast, either for prayer, and as Christians, they do that as a way to for self denial. They're like joints feel better, they feel lighter, they feel great. I'm like, how about we continue that most of the year? And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna try. So there's a lot to gain from it. And like Dr. Monique has said earlier, she's not trying to convince you to give up meat altogether, but just add more plants. We talked about the good plants, the rarely or minimally processed ones. Add them to your diet and see what that in itself can do. And I'm still stunned that you're over 50. I'm sorry. I'm still like, girl, what? You look
I'll be
really good.
54. My last name is May. My birthday's in May, so I'll be 54 in just about 2 months. So yes,
Wow.
ma'am.
That's what's up.
And
That's what's up. Go ahead.
oh, thank you. I do want to just add though too about the myth, right? The protein myth, because we didn't get to touch on it. But one of the
Yeah.
things that I get asked about is, why do you get enough protein if you're not eating meat? I was in Ghana. I mentioned to you before the show. I was in Ghana this summer, past summer, and I got to see elephants like up close. Well, not too close, but closer than the television. And they were eating trees and grass. And I actually got to see one reach up with his trunk and pull down the tree. It was so cool. But anyway, elephants are pretty big and they don't eat meat.
Ooh, that's
So to
good.
think that you cannot get enough protein if you don't eat meat is a myth, right? That we've been sold for years. We've been told that for years and years and years and years. Same thing about milk, that you have to drink cow's milk. You don't. You can still drink milk, plant-based milk, almond and oat and so forth. But so I just wanted to say you can certainly get enough protein in your diet. Things like we didn't get to touch on, but things like tofu products, tempeh, edamame, seitan. If you don't have wheat sensitivity, seitan is a great meat replacement, packed with protein. So there are ways. It just takes educating yourself, following people like me at Physician in the Kitchen on all social media, and go from and it's a journey. It's a journey, and enjoy the journey.
I love it. Enjoy the journey. So, Doc, we're about to wrap up. We got 2 minutes. Where can people find you? I know you mentioned one, so I can share it here. Where can
Yeah.
people find you to connect with you? Have you speak?
At
Where?
Physician, I'm at Physician in the Kitchen on all social media. I don't know what's going on with TikTok, but I'm there, until it's no longer there. So you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, at Physician, Facebook, at Physician in the Kitchen. And it's got links to all my products, goods, and services there. My cookbook, Doc Fix My Plate. You can get your copy. So yeah, follow me. I'd love to stay in touch.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. Everyone, please share. This is useful information. Everyone could use more plants in their lives. And I've put her website at the bottom, and she's on all the places. I mean, I
All the
saw
places.
your list is in all the places. Just look for her social media, Physician in the Kitchen. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. You rock, Doc.
Thank you
You
for
rock. Big
having
time.
me. Thank you for doing what you do. It's so important.
And then we're going to come back and have this conversation. We'll talk about nutrition facts and labels. Maybe we'll talk about that the next time we. So I'll send you a link after that. Okay, deal?
I love it. I love it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you all for watching. Those of you who watch live, those of you who watch replay. Can you imagine a life where your joints hurt less, you feel better, your skin is glowing like Dr. Monique's at over 50, sticking it over that. Better quality of life, more energy to do the things that matter to you. That's possible as you eat better. So here's to you eating your way into a better quality and quantity of life. And as always, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and a compassionate family physician that will help empower you to make better choices to help you live long and well, I am she. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks again, Doc. You rock. You rock. Thank you. Bye.